Rick Knowlton with us, and he is from the Sugarloaf Water Association, and we're breaking down how the water system works here in Sugarloaf, and there's some special projects, Rick, that you're working on. You've got some short-term and long-term projects, and maybe you could unwrap those a little bit.
Sure. A water system has projects going all the time, and the Sugarloaf Water Association is no different. Whether we're meeting new regulations or we're adjusting for changes in demand. Here at the mountain, we've had 2 of our groundwater wells, of a total of 9, that were impacted by PFAS, which is a complicated set of perfluorinated compounds, but now regulated by the state. Most everyone's heard of PFAS in one form or another.
Yeah.
And we had 2 out of the 9 wells that were detected at very low levels, below the health impact level. But in abundance of caution, we shut those wells off, and we've drilled 1 new well. We've got a location for a second one, and we're transitioning our water supply mix to accommodate that new regulation and that new concern. 5 years ago, we didn't have that on our radar.
Interesting.
But today we do, and we'll adjust for it.
Right.
We've recently completed, just off the Tote Road Trail, above the jump, above the timbers, a brand new finished water storage tank. That's almost a $2 million project. And we fund and finance these things totally through user rates. We don't rely on the mountain. The mountain doesn't contribute. As I said before, we're a separate entity. And we're supporting the West Mountain expansion. We're here to support where Sugarloaf is going, and our obligation and charge is to meet the need.
Now, people that live here, they have a fixed rate water. Tell us how that works, because they don't have meters.
That's right. That's right. And that was a decision made really a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's unusual because most people at their primary home, wherever they are, if they're on a community water system, they have a meter, and their bill is based upon, in part at least, how much water they use. And here, we don't do that. And the investment in installing water meters in the 1,300 residential units that we serve, it would be a couple of $1 million. If you have a 2-bedroom condo on the mountain today, your water bill is about $1 a day. And if we had water meters and we measured how much water everyone used, and we used that as part of the calculations, your bill would still be about $1 a day at the end of all of that. So there's an investment that won't really add value, won't change the financial picture, because the cost of the water is a very small component to what we really do, which is the investment in storage tanks and pumps and wells and pipes, and the payment of the debt on that investment.
Right.
The fixed costs of our labor and our team. So the variability in our expenses doesn't change as much as people expect it would if we pump 100,000 gallons today or 1 million gallons a day. It just doesn't flow with that math. So the investment is an option.
Sure.
And maybe long term we'll get there. But in comparison to addressing PFAS as a concern, or the new ponds and developments that the mountain's working on, metering each water service is a relatively low priority. But it's really all about economics, because at the end of the day, the water system needs a certain level of revenue, and like I said, it's about $1 a day if you have a 2-bedroom condo. If you have a 3 or 4-bedroom house, it's a little bit more than that, but not a lot.
Yeah, because there's a formula that a lot of towns use. Average house, 200, how many certain amount of gallons per person, and things of that sort.
Yeah. We have a very different demand curve, if you want to call it that.
Yes, we do.
Than most systems in Maine. Most water systems in Maine will have a peak in July and August when people are here and visiting, and our peak is right in the middle of winter.
Right.
school vacation and Christmas week, and that's unusual. So when you come up in the summertime, we have lots of water available for you. Those peak days in the wintertime really is what drives the design capacity and our ability to move and pump and treat water and make sure that no one runs out and no one's concerned in the middle of the winter.
Right. Now, in many towns, the sewerage is tied with the water. How does that work here?
Here, the sewer department, the Carabasset Valley Sanitary District, and a shout out to Dave Keith, who's retiring after
Yes,
a
he
couple
is.
of decades at
Yeah.
the Sanitary District. He's done a great job. Two separate entities.
Right.
The Sanitary District is actually a quasi-municipal district that is a piece of the town of Carabasset Valley. And we are a non-profit corporation, separate from the town, separate from the mountain, because our service territory is actually smaller than the sanitary districts. We don't cover everyone that they do geographically, and our setup and our bylaws actually limit where our service territory starts and stops.
I see.
So to change that, we'd have to go back and change the bylaws, which we can do, but it takes votes and involvement.
Interesting, very interesting how it was all put together. And as you say, throughout the years, different ownership of the mountain, so things are done in phases, and you've actually made sense of it all and come up with plans for it. Appreciate you coming on and sharing all that with us. We appreciate that, Rick. Thank you so much.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you come back. Now, do you have a website or
Yes,
that people could get more information?
At any time, folks are free to call Eric Copeland and his team. The Water Association office is down off the access road, but sugarloafwater.net is the website. All of the water quality reports are there, information about the system. It's a great place to start if you're looking for information about your drinking water.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning, Rick Knowlton, and we appreciate you giving us the story of how we get water here at the mountain.